Geeks Worldwide, welcome to another exciting, spine-tingling, and chilling episode of the Geek Side podcast. It is episode 4, which is my lucky number, and I figured what a better way to kind of really round that out than having our first guests of this particular show on this evening, and we'll get to the introductions of those awesome gentlemen in just a moment. But first, I can't start the show without talking to my right-hand man over here, the one, the only, fresh back from Dragon Con, Mr. Deron. Deron, how you doing, my man? You survived Dragon Con. You didn't get anything thrown at you, thankfully.
No,
but
didn't get anything.
We're glad you're back, man.
I'm glad I'm back too. It was great. Had a great time. Did in fact come back with the con crud, so I'm dealing. Yeah, but you know, it was worth it. Definitely worth it.
You got to watch that con crud, man. It's all them. There's some geeks that are not the most hygienic, floating around these cons. So, they pass that stuff around.
Wearing it like a badge of honor.
That's right, man. But Deron, was this like your first real big con?
This was my first real big con as media. Like I'd gone to a couple of cons before, Wizard World Con. A couple of times in Chicago. Like I've been to cons just kind of as a guest and a volunteer. Like this was the first time I was just kind of there for the long haul. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely puts a different set of lenses on when you go as media, right?
Oh yeah. You definitely see all sides.
Yes, absolutely, man. Well, we're definitely going to pick your brain a little bit more about your experiences at Dragon Con and the awesome people you got to talk to in a few. But let's go ahead and introduce our guest. And we might get another one in a few minutes, hopefully. But we are going to be talking to the amazing creative team behind the beautiful horror anthology, The Dead Palace, which is like a beautiful interwoven tapestry of horror, gore, and just horror amazingness. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our first guest on the Geek Side podcast, Mr. Benjamin Sawyer. Mr. Benjamin Sawyer, welcome back. I've talked to you before on the other show, but this is your first time on the Geek Side pod. So welcome, sir. And it's good to talk to you again, man.
It's so great to be here. Thank you so much.
We get your lovely face this time. Last time we just got your how did you refer to it? Your lovely avatar photo.
That's right. Yeah, I tried to convince you that I was actually live, but I was lying to you. It was just a picture.
Yes, it was like your life model decoy with just some pre-recorded answers, right?
Right. I got a soundboard. I got a button for every answer.
You just start typing in. There we go. They're gonna ask this. There, that one works. Before we get to talking about the book and everything, man, what's new in your geek world, my brother? What's new and exciting? Anything smashing going on these days?
Oh man, grinding away on Destiny, of course. Destiny 2 just went live last night. Spending some time on Overwatch. Can't stop the Overwatch. But I've been heavy into production mode. So aside from those two things, I'm kind of grinding on some Dead Palace stuff, some other side projects, and just a lot of Overwatch, honestly.
You know what, man? I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not played a single minute of either of those games. I'm not a huge gamer. It takes a lot for me to get into we'll say these like big hyped up games that everybody seems to be playing, and it's like I'm weird. I spend my money on like action figures and other things instead. So
yeah, I've got a small selection up here of figures. I gotta dole my money out evenly. So I got a little pot for video games. So I pick up a game every few months. So
yeah, I need to start doing that more often.
Well, see,
I need to start doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like I'm definitely into Overwatch. Like I haven't gotten Destiny 2 yet. But I did love Destiny 1. But I got like small kids, so if I'm not at a console, someone is.
Yep.
So it was like then by the time they're in bed, I'm just like, do I want to get on?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I get a few hours a night after my work's done.
Yeah.
But I got people in the house and the Xbox is right in the middle of the house, so it doesn't always work out.
It's prime real estate. It's where everybody wants to be in the house, huh?
Yep.
Exactly. Well, cool, my friend. So let's Yes. I got too many, but we won't talk about that right now. So, Benjamin, tell us a little bit about this amazing book called The Dead Palace, which Jim so graciously sent me after the last time we talked, and I just
That's
thoroughly
awesome.
enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm
thoroughly
glad you got to
enjoyed the
see
hell
it.
out of it. As soon as I opened it, I ripped through it and couldn't get enough of it, man. I'm waiting for more. So
Very
tell us a
good.
little bit about Volume 1 and what's out already, and kind of give us a little bit of backstory about the Dead Palace, if you could.
Sure. Jim and I have been creative partners for a few years, and it came to the point where we had enough horror short stories that we figured we could put it under one title. And when we were public in a convention or whatever, we tried to sell it as a bundle, and it sold out every time we showed our face. So we said, maybe this is the right price point. Maybe this is the right genre. Maybe it's the right content. So we figured we'd put our heads together, see which stories were worth developing further, and then crowdfund it and independently publish it. So it's a bit of a tease because this book isn't really out there. The only way you've gotten this is either you've met us, or we sent it to you, or you've ran into us in person. So in essence, what you have is what we've come to call a convention sampler. So and that's the way we deemed it in our intro video in Kickstarter. It's our convention sampler, but nobody will be missing out on that since it'll be included in the complete collection. That's why we called it that. So yeah, it's honestly mostly Jim's brainchild, which is, it's a shame he's not here, but we've done a few of these now, so I've almost got his parts memorized, but it's mostly his brainchild. He's more of a horror guy. I was a what's the term when you don't let your kids watch a lot of things? What do you call that? Like anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But when I was a kid,
I was that kid when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a kid when Freddy and all that was coming out, so I didn't get to watch it. So I'm actually watching these movies now as an adult. But he grew up on all this stuff, Tales from the Crypt, and Marvel and DC had their own horror lines. So and Dead Palace was his naming convention. Apparently, it's something he set up in his basement to scare his sisters with candles and dolls and stuff like that. So so he called it the Dead Palace. But so this is kind of his brainchild, and I'm just sort of his artistic host, if you will. And he's channeling his stories through me. And but that's fun because I like drawing my own stuff too, but making somebody else's stories come to life is equally awesome. So
I being a huge fan of the horror genre, and I think it's just one of those things that's just timeless. There's always a want and a desire, I think, for people to be scared, whether it's a film or a book or a comic or a graphic novel. There's definitely a huge group of people that just want to feel that sensation that you get when you're reading either a really scary story or a really gory story, or something that's a totally off the wall twist that we haven't seen before. What are some of the challenges you guys face doing a horror anthology and coming up with new things and trying to come up with things that haven't been done before?
Yeah, I mean that's the question is the challenge. You know what I mean? Like in this day and age, when you've got a horror movie coming out every month, regardless of what time of year it is, the bar is so high. What do you do to really get under people's skins? For us, we kind of like to go back because some of the horror movies these days have a nice gimmick, but the classic ones are really what really hooked you. Like Hellraiser 2 is timeless. Poltergeist is timeless. I was actually reading Lovecraft for the first time last month, and there was a hook at the end of the story that was so awesome. It still gripped me, and that book's what, 50, 60 years old, something like that. And I mean, say what you want about Lovecraft, it doesn't have a great reputation, but his stories are amazing. And like you said, it's that the fact that it's horror makes it timeless. So so what we try to go more visual with the sampler, the one that you have. We try to vary it up, go with different timepieces, different eras. Still horror, but different eras. With the complete collection, we're actually going to try to go a little more cerebral, a little more psychological. So one of the stories is a bit existential, so it'll hopefully throw a couple twists at you. The sequel to Butcher Queen is going by a different name called Bone Covenant, and it's got a really, really grim plot line that's basically just kind of depressing. Like, it should have really good action with hover ships and tanks and explosions and laser weapons and stuff like that, but the plot of it is just awful. So so we're trying to go more psychological with the complete collection, basically.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things I absolutely loved about all of these stories was just how visually different they looked, and the fact that they were different time periods. Like, how fun was that for you to be able to just kind of draw many different genres?
Yeah,
and
that's everything. That's everything, really. I've got people coming to me now saying, "Hey, you want to do a long form project?" I'm like, I mean, yeah, of course, but this is a long form project that I get to change every 10 or 20 pages, and that's great. As an artist, you're always in this sort of crisis about finding yourself and finding your style, unless you're a Capullo and you've made it and everybody's relying on a particular look, or a J.H. Williams III or something like that. But I get to experiment, and it hopefully it looks like it's the same artist anyway. But the joy of experimenting is pretty great. And plus, maybe I'll stumble into that style I'll finally latch onto and call, like, this is it, I found it. But till then, I get to stretch my wings and goof off a little bit. It kind of feels like goofing off a little bit. Like, what am I going to do this time?
Yeah.
Maybe I won't ink this one. Maybe I'll only color this one half of it so it looks a little more monochrome or something like that. So yeah, it feels a bit like goofing off sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's a testament to how good it is visually, and the story is that even in black and white, I think you could still evoke the same emotion.
Man, that is the ultimate challenge.
Yeah.
Is pulling in these super needy comic readers that some of them are just like, if your book doesn't look good enough, they're not even going to buy it, right?
Sure.
The story could be great, but if it doesn't meet their criteria, you don't get a second chance. So the ultimate test is black and white. You're absolutely correct. So maybe I'll try to push one of those through with the complete collection, because we've got ideas, but it's not finalized yet. Yeah. So,
did you get any? I'm sorry. Did you? Because there was some shots that evoked like classic heavy metal comics. Did you get any kind of inspiration from those, especially Butcher Queen? Like, did kind of give me a heavy metal vibe.
Yeah, absolutely, man. People ask often what my inspirations are, and it's really hard to narrow down one thing or another. I'm in my 30s, almost in my 40s, and all my inspirations are decades of input. You know what I mean? So it's everything from heavy metal to, of course, Blade Runner, and then I read a lot of manga when I can. So Gundam's in there, and Fooly Cooly. And basically I just sort of have a spider web of consumption. So it's never really one thing, but I can tell you that heavy metal is definitely a part of that thing. It's definitely on my web.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Hey, Benjamin, is there any particular story, or we'll say art style, that you've done out of the stuff we've seen or the stuff we haven't seen that you feel is really like we'll say your crowning achievement of this project? Is there anything you're just extra proud of in the anthology?
Well, when everybody gets their hands on it, they'll see the double page spread when one of our detectives finds her partner, but doesn't find him in one piece. He finds his face woven into a tapestry of faces, spanning on a double page spread. That one took 3 days to put together. That I'm pretty proud of that one. Yeah. That story in general was what I tried to accomplish, and what I'll try to perfect with Bone Covenant, is where I tried to go with a more hand painted background with sort of a cell shaded, almost anime looking foreground. And so that was a new thing for me, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know. It's tough to say any one thing, because I really enjoyed the Atonement lens too, because the Atonement lens has sort of an unfinished look.
Right.
And if you look close enough, there's no ink. It was just pencil, and then I cleaned it up in Photoshop and colored it.
Yeah.
So some of it's tight pencil, some of it's really loose. So those two probably stand out the most to me, the ones I enjoy the most.
That specific like double page and the Butcher Queen you're talking about, it's so cool the way that you captured kind of, you can't really tell if it's wires or, I mean, in a sense, it almost looks like blood, and that's kind of dripping in front of you. It almost has a 3D effect to it with the rest of the faces, we'll say, falling in the background. And that was a really cool thing. And you turn that page, and it really just kind of jumps out at you the way the main character's standing there and everything that's going on. You're just kind of like, wow.
Well, I did a few effects that you actually don't see often in comics, mostly because it's just laborious. Where it's depth of field, where you change the focal length. So there's a lot of times where I hung those weird red fluorescent tubes that are in that scene in the foreground, but I blurred them out so it felt closer to you than the rest of the scene. So I did that throughout that whole monastery sort of chapel scene, and I can't wait to do more of that. It's difficult. It's difficult, but it really pays off.
Yeah, you can definitely see that in the splash. It's like it's like your perspective is so much different than the other character. Like you're just it's almost like you followed her into the room. And
that's awesome.
In the background.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. I appreciate it, guys. Yeah. That's what I was going for. Mission accomplished.
The one of the stories that I really enjoyed was there's a dead girl in my chest.
Yeah, people love that one.
What I really like is how you really captured the feel of the setting as far as the time goes, the time period in that story with your usage of color and the way you illustrated that specific story. I mean, even if you didn't have any of the story itself, you would know exactly what time period you were going for in that story. And that was something that really kind of struck me in that one, besides just being like a totally off the wall, gory ending to that story. I think that was a really great one.
I spent extra effort on researching architecture and costumes. You know, it's real quick to get lost in a story when there's no more cell phones or even telephones, and everything's with horse and buggy and lantern and stuff like that. So you get transported pretty quickly once you lose modern conveniences. But I did do a little research to make sure that came together.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Were there any is there any things either time periods or genres that you guys haven't touched upon that you would really like to?
Oh boy, I don't know. Sky's the limit. I'd like to go even farther in the future, just to really bend our brains to see how far humanity can actually get before we wipe ourselves off the planet. And then I guess even further back, maybe, because we did Vikings, and that's pretty old school. That's like very early medieval,
Great Viking story, by the way.
Oh, thanks. So I'd like to go even a little further back from that. I don't know. Renaissance would be tight.
Yeah.
But talk about detail.
I'm serious, man.
Everybody's wearing 5-piece costumes, and the architecture's bananas, and
lots of ruffles and frills.
Yeah, man. I probably shouldn't have put that in the universe, because now it's going to happen. But.
Yep. You're going to get a call about that tomorrow, man.
Yep.
Can you do a Shakespeare thing?
Hey, fair game, though. I always tell people, and I tell my students, because I'm a teacher as well, I said, if it's too easy, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So bring it on.
Good point. So Benjamin, since the last time we talked to you, you guys are running a new Kickstarter campaign. So please tell us a little bit about that and what's going on with that, because you're off to a great start from what I hear.
Yeah, we hit both feet. What's the expression? Hit the ground with both feet, something like that.
Yeah, running.
We started 2 days ago on the 5th. Nope, started 7:30 in the morning on the 5th. So, and we're up to 34% already. We're only asking for 6,000 this time because we've got a big chunk of the book finished already, as you know.
Yeah.
And we're just supplementing those stories or using those stories as jump-off points. But we quickly discovered that people really enjoy a Kickstarter that's got a lot of the product done already.
Yeah.
And they've already done the kickstarting. So Kickstarter is more of just a pre-order platform.
Right.
But we're doing a lot of the same things we did with Rough and Tumble, which we did a few years ago, where we're going to put you in the book, or if you're in St. Louis, we'll go comic book shopping with you. We've actually, the highest tier is we'll go to haunted houses with you for an evening. Yeah. But we got other smaller things too, like we collaborated with some artists for extra posters and alternate covers and T-shirts and things like that. The standard fare.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I
Sounds
want to go to haunted house with you guys.
Good, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be rad, man.
Yeah. Maybe I'll strap on a GoPro so everybody can go haunted houses with us. That'd be kind of fun.
Yes. Is there some good haunted stuff in your area, my friend?
Yeah. St. Louis has almost 3.5 million people in it, so we're a big enough city, and we put a lot of money into Halloween. We actually kind of go overboard on all of our major holidays.
Yeah.
And Halloween's one of them, where we kind of go bananas. We've got 3 really big, like regionally renowned haunted houses. So yeah, it should be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Benjamin, tell us the address for the Kickstarter, how our listeners can find it.
Well, we don't have like a bit.ly or a short address, but if you search for the Dead Palace, we'll come right up.
Cool.
And we're all over Twitter. If you just if you don't search on Google, because it pulls up some pretty awful stuff. But if you search on social networks like like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff, we'll pop right up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, since we're talking about horror, and my favorite time of the year, Halloween time, is coming up. Are you excited, and will you go see the It remake?
Yeah, definitely. Mostly because I am not scared by the original It anymore. It's almost comical. It's just, Tim Curry's great. I love him, but it's funny now. So and I that's one of the movies that I watched too early and shouldn't have, and it scared me then, but it just doesn't scare me anymore. So, but no, it looks pretty great. The trailer got me, so I'm hooked. I'll go see it.
Did you have a thing with clowns too, Ben, when you were a kid?
Nah. No.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't watch enough of the right movies to get that fear. But no, I was actually scared of dinosaurs. Like
dinosaurs.
When your parents told you to take the trash out at night, and you dump the trash in the trash can, and you sprint back to the house because you think dinosaurs are chasing you. Yeah, it was always dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs gonna jump out or something, man. You never know.
That's it.
Could be a wild triceratops coming down the street, right?
No, it was raptors, man. It was always raptors.
Oh, yes. Duh. I love it, man. What would you say is and it doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite. Like, what's one of your like definitive like gold standard horror movies?
Man, I already mentioned it, so it sounds like I don't know many horror movies, but Hellraiser 2 is way up there. Way up. I love the first one. And I won't take the trophy away from the first one as being sort of groundbreaking, but 2 sort of just broke all those barriers. Like, it's like, all right, it's like, okay, we see you, Hellraiser 1, but we're going to up you on a few different.
Hold my beer.
Exactly. But it's weird and terrifying and creepy, and there's all those hand painted backgrounds of hell with it looks like a labyrinth of awful. Yeah, pretty great. Yeah. And close runner up would be Event Horizon. I think that's definitely high on my list.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Because I'm biggest sci-fi geek over anything else. Mm-hmm. So if you sprinkled horror into my sci-fi, you got me.
Yeah, they did do a lot right with that with that movie, especially the mixture of sci-fi and horror. Like it's something that rarely works. Like when it really works, you've got like the original like Ridley Scott Alien.
Yeah.
Like when it doesn't work, it's pretty much everything else.
As far as numbers go, most everything else, because there's a lot of bad horror sci-fi out there.
I was raised on horror, so I was never like honestly external things like never scared me. They were always cool to watch. Like I'm a huge horror fanatic. Like like my go-to horror film has always been The Exorcist. Yeah, because it's never the external thing that scares me. It's never the Cenobites. It's never the pinhead. It's never the actual alien. It's the loss of control of self. That's that scares me. Like that's the thing that gets to me, is the not having control of my own body.
Are you? That I will definitely say, Deron, is I would probably say in my mind, one of the scariest movies, because I can't even watch it. Even to this day, I can't handle it.
Wow.
I don't. There's a certain type of horror, that I don't handle well. It's typically like stuff that deals with like hardcore, like demonic things. movie that I can watch, and I don't know if you necessarily consider it a horror movie, that always scared the crap out of me. And I think it's because, to me, it's very real. Like, there might be people out there like this. Was The Cell? The Cell with
Oh
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
I love that movie, man. Very underrated.
The visuals when I first saw that scared the shit out of me. Like, I was just like, what in God's name is in this guy's head? Like, I know there's some wacko down the street that thinks the same way. You know what I mean? Like,
and that was the first movie where somebody's guts got put on a spit, and he just like ratcheted them. And, that really bothered me.
And he's like clapping, like a creepy clown. I'm like, what is happening?
Like, Vincent D'Onofrio just destroyed that role.
Oh my God. Like, and all the different characters that he plays and the different costumes. And I mean, just the thing where like the things are attached to his back and they're coming off the ceiling. Like that just kind of, it blew me away. The visuals along with the story of like what's really going on there, just kind of like, it was almost too much for me to handle. When I first saw it, I was just like,
it was pretty great. I'm due for another viewing of it. It's been too long.
I think I want to check it out again too. I think I might be able to be a little bit more brave and can handle a little bit better.
That movie in 4K would be something else.
Yeah, I may actually check it out again before I go see it.
There you go.
Yes, it's bad, man. But yeah, that's, I don't know. We might get too much detail then, Ben. But it's good stuff. I'm like, oh man. What random question off topic, Ben? What typically do you do on Halloween or in celebration of?
Well, I go overboard with my costume construction. Awesome. I spend hundreds of dollars. I comparatively shop all hours of the day for about 2 weeks. I source all my outfit parts all around the city. Sometimes I have to get it off the internet. So yeah, I spend a lot on my costume, and then I usually have more than one costume per year, actually. So if I've got multiple parties, I won't go to the same party with the same costume. So
hey man, that's just like me.
Yeah. So one year I was Lobo for one party, and then I was just like a hunter from Destiny, which is really just a collection of you got a cape, you got a weird sci-fi helmet, you got motorcycle body armor, you got a painted black Nerf gun. Boom, you're a Destiny character, right? It's kind of, you just slap stuff together.
Yes.
But so oddly enough, last year I came down with food poisoning, which I think my girlfriend might have gave me so that I didn't have to leave the house. But I had a pretty wicked Viking costume that sort of Game of Thrones-ish, with like multiple levels of leather and fur and a sword and an axe and and greaves and all this sort of stuff. So I didn't get to wear that last year, which means I'm going to wear it this year. So that's my plan. Don't know where I'm going to go yet.
Beautiful.
But I'm going to be a Viking somewhere in St. Louis this Halloween.
Hell, man! Even if it's just to like Chipotle for your $3 burrito, you're going Viking down.
Yeah, I live in a pretty pedestrian part of town. I can just put it on and walk down the street and go get something. Yeah.
Hey, man, I've done it. It's not like it's not going to happen again.
Trip to Walmart.
Just so
I've got
like the old people that are like, what is he doing?
I made my own like
for all of your water.
Yes.
I've made my own like Batman like heavy armor.
Yeah.
Again with I think it was with the same motorcycle armor, but I used like so you remember that game Army of Two?
Yes.
And they wore those like ballistic face shields that had like skulls on them. So I bought one of those and put Batman ears on it. So I had like an actual like ballistic Batman face shield. And then put together some motorcycle armor and some combat boots and a cape, and went to Walgreens to get I don't remember what, but that was a big hit.
Yeah, I last year for a convention, a local convention that we usually have every year, but they're not doing it this year. I kind of sort of debuted like half of Ash from the Ash versus Evil Dead series.
Awesome.
I finished my chainsaw, which I heavily modified from a Halloween store prop, and I kept the functioning chain spin intact, which is
neat.
Really kind of throws it. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's a cool chainsaw," and then you push the button, and they kind of lose it after that. But, but it's funny now with the all these crazy like gun laws and things that are happening. I could not find for the life of me a decent like sawed off shotgun prop, and so luckily I have a good friend of mine who does a lot of 3D printing, and after the convention he actually 3D printed me one, and it's still been sitting in pieces. So my goal is to finish that in the next month and have it ready for Halloween.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be righteous, and I have lots of armor sitting here waiting to be turned into a ash harness. So I think that's what we're going for this year for Halloween.
I approve.
Darren, how about you, man? what do you got on Halloween this year?
Well, I mean, like I said, I got kids. I got 2 boys, so we're trying to do theme. We're trying to do a theme. Like I really want to do.
Oh, you're doing the Bat Fam this year, right?
No, we were doing like the Flash Fam. Like we're just
all right. Cool.
The Flash Fam. That's right.
We really want to do the Flash Fam. Like I want to do like the meet Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, Wally West. Yes, just me and my 2 boys. Mm-hmm. But it's looking like my boys are leaning hard into Ghostbusters.
Which not bad. Which is still awesome.
No, exactly. You know, it could be worse. It could be like, it could be whatever my oldest is into at the moment, which is apparently like the Gumball or something. But it could be
Amazing World of Gumball.
That would be difficult costumes to pull off.
Exactly. It'd be weird. As you know what, it wouldn't be hard at all because I would just make like a giant potato with moose antlers and call it a costume, and that would be my wife.
Oh, that's good, man. I'm just thinking of how you would like make the fish kid look accurate, Darwin or whatever his name is.
I don't even know. Like I would literally it would just be me in a pink bunny suit dressed like Peter Griffin. And and paint my son to look like a blue cat. Like
perfect, man. That's good stuff, man.
But yeah,
I love it.
I'm pushing for the Flash family, but we may end up Ghostbustering it around this Halloween.
You might have to bribe them a little bit, Darren, and be like, "Come on, we'll do this if we do Flash."
Well, see, I don't even think bribe. I think it'll just be like the costumes will arrive and it'll just be like, "Oh, this is all they had left.
This is what they had. Dad waited too long."
I don't know what to tell you. So we can either do this or nothing. But
yes, that's it, man. Benjamin, where do our amazing followers and friends find you on Twitter specifically?
I'm as Sketch Sawyer on everything. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Xbox Live. What am I missing? Everything. Sketch Sawyer. It's all unified. So
beautiful. Real quick, man, is there any other projects you have working on besides the Dead Palace stuff?
I've got
you can tell us about anyways.
Yeah, there's a lot I can't. I always have comics working in the background that will see the light of day someday. I did a 4-book series with a company in St. Louis based on a game called Crashlands. Hopefully that'll come out soon. I think it will. That game is a little successful, so that'll reach some people. But let me see what else. I'm also working on a little animation project, which if we do really well with this Kickstarter, we're thinking about maybe doing some Dead Palace animation. So let's throw that out there.
Good, man.
So I've got some animation samples on my YouTube, which isn't Sketch Sawyer. That's I don't know what that is, Ben Brush or something like that. They make you pay to change it or something. I don't know, or I have to start a new one.
That's stupid.
It's convoluted and awful. But anyway, if you go to one of my pages, you'll get linked to my YouTube, and on there is some of my animation samples. So I've got a little short feature I'm going to try to put together. It'll be about 2 minutes long. I'm about halfway done of like giant robots and giant bugs fighting in a city. And it's all pixel art, so it looks like a Super Nintendo intro cutscene.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, pretty neat. So that'll be done hopefully by the end of the year. I'm about 40 seconds in on a 2-minute cutscene. So we shall see. But that's about all I can say right now. And lots of Dead Palace.
Yes. I just want to see that whole like piku piku piku. Like,
no, it's a little more articulate than that. Think of those old let me think. Like Wing Commander?
Yeah.
Those Wing or TIE Fighter?
Yeah.
Like X-Wing and TIE Fighter cutscenes, more like that.
Right. Yeah. It's lovely, man.
Less Tecmo Bowl, more X-Wing.
Sweet.
Yes. Hey, I'm a sucker for either.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring me back those old school days of Nintendo and all that good stuff, man. I'm all about it.
I'm permanently stuck there.
Absolutely, man. Friends, please go check out the Dead Palace. Check them out on Twitter. Please check out their Kickstarter campaign. If you love the horror genre, if you want just an amazing anthology of all kinds of different stories, whether we're talking like the Viking era, we're talking about futuristic butcher babes, you're going to love the Dead Palace. It's great stuff, man. Lots of gore, lots of ghosts, lots of just Viking awesomeness, which is one of my favorites as well. Please check it out, guys. So, Ben, thanks for talking to us about the Dead Palace. Would you like to talk a little bit more with us about other geek stuff as we kind of round out the show tonight?
Yeah, of course, man. I'll hang out. What you got? Go ahead. You guys go ahead, and I'll be the peanut gallery.
Wonderful. So, Deron, I need you, Deron, to tell all of us about your lovely experience, a little bit more about Dragon Con, because that's one of the big cons that I have yet to go to. That one's definitely on my list, along with New York Comic Con. And you not only got to go to Dragon Con, but you got to talk to some awesome people. You know, anytime like one of our fellow contributors gets to talk to somebody from the MCU, I kind of get really jealous, and I'm like, smash! I want to talk to them. but you got to talk to Sean Gunn as well, man. So besides that, tell us all about it, my friend.
Oh, it was a great experience. I love the fact that it's as big as it is, but it doesn't feel too big. Because like I was saying before, they've got like 4 venues all around each other. So you never feel like you're overwhelmed with people in one space. So it's like if you're there to see the Walk of Fame, to like go and see like the stars in the Marriott, you can walk across the street to the Hyatt, to the panel you want to go to, or get something to eat. If you want to go see the vendors, you just walk across to the America's Mart. Like, it's spread out well enough so that you don't feel like you're on top of everybody. So I had a great experience, like both just being a fan and as kind of like covering the entire event. And Sean Gunn was amazingly nice. Like, he came in just like with the best attitude. And it's not saying that, to everyone else, but I think one of the cons, no pun intended, of the con was that they were doing this new kind of interview format. They were going to bring they're going to bring somebody into to the meeting rooms, and they'd have like maybe 5 or 6 reporters there to ask questions. They give them like maybe like 20-30 minute interview where you ask your questions, and then they move on and the next person would come in. And from what I was getting from a lot of people that were there, from a lot of other press people, was that there were just like multiple cancellations from people. Like I had 5 interviews lined up, and Paul Blackthorne was one. He had to drop out of the entire convention, so I'm down to 4. So I had Sean Gunn, Michael Dorn from Star Trek Next Generation, John Wesley Shipp from The Flash, and the man himself, William Shatner. So that was my 4, and Shatner was my holy grail. I actually had 5. I had Rob Paulson, but I was late, and they want you to be there 10 minutes before, because if you're not 10 minutes before, you're not getting in the room after. So I missed Rob Paulson, but but I got Sean Gunn, and he was great, and got Michael Dorn, and he was great. And then go the next day, and I'm momentum's gathering. I'm getting my together. I'm prepping. I'm learning from my mistakes from yesterday. And John Wesley Shipp was supposed to have rescheduled for Sunday, but then he canceled on Sunday, and then Shatner canceled as well. And it was disappointing, but again, from what it sounds like from everyone else that I talked to, every other like reporter I talked to, it wasn't new. It was just kind of happening. So that was, that was a little disappointing, but at the same time, look, if you're there and you're getting not only the admiration of fans come around to, pay for autographs and take pictures, and then have a whole other separate area where you're taking pictures, and then you're doing panels all day and all this, I can absolutely understand you not wanting to take time away from that to spend 20 minutes talking to reporters about, whatever. So, but overall, it was still a great experience. Like, I got 50%. That was my average for my first Dragon Con. So I think I did better than most, and I can look at it. I can definitely look at it positively.
That's solid, man. I think if you get 50% anytime you go to con for anything, you're in the up. I'm saying, man.
Exactly.
What so I have to ask you, man, because I'm all about the cosplay when I do cons. What was the cosplay level like there? I mean, see some really big elaborate stuff when you went there?
There was some really good elaborate stuff that I really enjoyed. There was a guy who like was full on Chamberlain from Dark Crystal. So he did like a full on Skeksis costume. It was so awesome.
That's great.
Just like, and he was like, went full into it with the voice and everything else.
Really?
And one of my favorite people there was a guy in a guy in just a bodysuit and a tally, like and a scoreboard that was just like that was just counting off like Deadpools and Harley Quinns.
Oh my God.
Just be like,
I love it.
It would be like a digital Deadpool and a digital Harley Quinn, and one would be like 168 and 169. Every time he'd see one, he'd like tick.
That's hilarious.
It was amazing.
Definitely shares my sentiment. Man, not to intercede too much. Who is excited for that Dark Crystal coming to Netflix?
Wow, that's like
huge. I want it so badly.
I know.
Can we have it now? Can we have it now, maybe?
No, don't rush it, man. They gotta give them lots of room. It's got to be perfect.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. I'm very, very excited, man. I want to get more movies and franchises from when I was a kid back on the screen. I'm all about it, man.
Yep.
And I'm just happy to see a resurgence from Jim Henson Studios. Like I've always been a fan. Right? I've always been a fan of Henson Studios. Always been a fan of Muppets, and even like the Muppet show that they had a year ago on ABC. I tried to get into it just because it's the Muppets, but I think doing something like this will kind of get that momentum back going for the artistry of the Henson Studios instead of just the characters.
Yeah,
absolutely. What did you make it out to the vendors area over at Dragon Con?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I got out.
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
There's this long running joke with friends that I have. They're like, I didn't even know there was a vendors room there. Like, they're always too busy partying,
Yeah, this was kind of hard to miss because like I said, it took the entire two buildings of the America's Mart, which they're just kind of next to each other. It's like a big, just a huge mall. So it's like 3 levels, and all 3 levels were taken over by vendors. Okay. But my only issue with that was that, it was a great concept, but I don't think a lot of people knew about it because there were so many people crammed into the first floor vendors area that it was just almost impossible to get through.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like it's freaking huge though, man. It's like that's where they get me when I go to a con. I start looking at buying stuff, and next thing I know, I'm at several $100s, and I'm like, how am I going to get home now?
It happens so fast.
It does.
Yeah, I think my thing is that I was all ready to buy many things and just couldn't get and I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", so it's like I'm. Yeah. So people just if I'm cramped. Like it's almost like, look, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of the area. As much as I want to look at all of your Star Trek ships and all of your USS Enterprises, I can't deal. I can't just keep standing here. So
I can't do it.
Exactly. So
did you come home with anything though?
I didn't, and that's the worst part about it is I really wanted to. There was so many things I wanted to get. But it's like by the time I guess I was kind of more in like the business mode. It's like I got to make sure I'm here for these interviews. Got to make sure I'm here covering this. Like I think there's a part of me. It's like if next year I'm gonna balance myself more on the fun side, and I'm gonna go with just like a fistful of cash, just like the Fry meme. Just like just protect my money.
Take all my money. It's funny that you mentioned that, Darren, because now that you've told me kind of about the experience and how it's kind of set up, there was this meme I kept seeing with, it was like one of the Fry memes, where he's kind of like thinking about something, and it said, "Not sure if Dragon Con is an actual con or just a bunch of hotel lobbies."
Yeah,
depends on the con.
Yeah, you do find yourself walking through a lot of lobbies, but they had a lot of really great panels.
Right.
Like the Next Generation 30th anniversary panel was great. Like everyone there was like so loose. Like Frakes and all of them were just awesome. The costume contest, like the ball that they had was awesome. So there's a lot of walking around in lobbies, but once you get to where you're going, you had fun in the panels you went to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What would you say, if anything, was the highlight of the convention for you?
Oh yeah, I'd probably have to say the TNG panel, because I'm a huge Star Trek fanatic. So just kind of how loose and nice they were, and just kind of talking about everything. Like I got Brent Spiner answered my, like I know everyone was going to ask Star Trek questions, but I got Brent Spiner to answer my gargoyles question.
Awesome.
So awesome. Like I was just like, look.
What was your question?
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's nothing that I could ask that would enhance anything I already knew about Next Generation. Like I've been there. Like
sure.
Like it's celebrating its 30th anniversary. I grew up watching it, so I know all about it.
Wait, who was he? Was he? He was. No, it's in Gargoyles.
Oh, in Gargoyles, Puck.
I thought so. Okay, awesome.
So he was. So my question to them was, because they were all on it. So my question to them was like, look, you got Young Justice coming back. You got like Greg Weisman leaving. Like, did he leave Star Wars? Yeah, I think. Leaving Star Wars Rebels to go back, and Young Justice coming back. So I'm like, if Greg Weisman decides he wants to redo or bring back Gargoyles, would you all come back? And like that's what I wanted to know. Like, that's because I like Xanatos, Demona, Coldstone, all right in front of me.
What did they say?
And he was like, "Yep." There's awesome. not even hesitation though. So
did you get any sort of crowd response from that?
I didn't get any crowd response because I ended up having to ask it on Twitter, because it was like
okay.
It was that moment where you're the next person to ask a question, and someone on the other side of the room says "last question."
And
it's awful. The other person on the other side of the room.
It was just some other boring Next Generation question, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. It was.
Like, what do you?
I was just like, I'm so much better than that.
If you were on the Enterprise and you had to get lunch in the cafeteria,
what do you order?
You ever walk up to your microwave and pretend it's a replicator?
Yes,
I do. Every day of my life.
That's so bad, man.
I'll never get a tea or a gray hot.
Yeah, no. I hope I get to make it out there one of these years, man, and I hope maybe you and I can go crash together one of these years, because it'd be awesome.
Oh, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. I'm definitely looking forward to next year.
Yeah, awesome, man. I'm glad you had a good time, my friend, and I'm glad you got to talk to some cool people. And good stuff, man. Benjamin, I'm going to ask you, since we're kind of running out of time, what cool geeky things have you done this week in what we now call our wide world of geek? You reading anything? You watching anything besides playing the Overwatches and the Destinies?
No, I kind of feel like this week's just getting started, even though it's I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, it's Wednesday. But yeah, my first 2 days are taken up with classes, and then my first day of production is Wednesday. So I don't know. Wednesday's kind of like my first day back in the world. So Overwatch released their team deathmatch this last week, which is a new mode that the developers said they would never do, and they finally did. So they have free for all mode and team deathmatch mode, and it's awesome. We actually don't even really do regular team much anymore. We're all on team deathmatch, me and my buddies. And I'm like a hardcore Doomfist guy now. I can't Every once in a while, I'll find a scenario where I don't play him, but that's my dude. He's great. He's awesome. Punching somebody, and the punch doesn't kill him; it's the wall that kills him. So you have to punch somebody so that they hit a wall. It's never not gratifying. It's always phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are more people to punch?
Exactly. He's not easy to play though. He's a tough character, but I think I got my neck.
You're talking about that, man. I'm just thinking that I finally started watching a couple episodes of the new season of Rick and Morty. I don't know if you're watching it at all.
Heck yeah, I am.
And I just watched the episode where they're like where he's in the Thunderdome with the arm.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking about right now.
That's Doomfist, pretty much.
Yes.
Oh, so many Ricks. So many Ricks. Was
there a lot of pickle Ricks?
Oh yeah.
Did you see the pickle Ricks?
The next thing. There should have been just like a guy with a tally of Ricks.
Yeah.
Just picking off every Rick he saw.
Yes.
Man,
Morty.
what a prideful feeling to be able to create something and then just have it like instantly take off, and then everybody's cosplaying it like a 1-2 year turnaround. That's crazy fast. That's the dream right there, guys.
That's how big and fast that show got.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So that's I forgot like my other favorite cosplayer. There were like two. There was a Alana Tyrell.
Okay.
With just an older woman in a wheelchair being.
Oh, did you actually get to see her in person?
Yes, I got to see her in person. I was
awesome.
Walking literally on the on the couch, just kind of walking over to the food court, and she just like had the glasses on, and there's just the sign.
Life glasses, yeah.
Yes, exactly. The other one was there was so many little fingers just walking around. That just like one of them like just had a sign with his throat cut that said "spoiler alert."
Beautiful. I was gonna say, man, if somebody didn't do that, they missed an opportunity there.
Yep.
That's awesome. The one big uber geeky thing that I did within the last week, of course, was I went and spent 4 hours camped out outside of Toys R Us for Force Friday last Thursday night. And,
awesome.
I gotta see it.
I love my Star Wars, man. I love my Star Wars. I always love doing these campouts, whether it be for a movie or for Force Friday, because it really kind of just cements one of the reasons why I love Star Wars so much is the camaraderie the fans have with each other. I mean, I just start talking with random people that I have no clue who they are. I didn't even get their names, but we're just all geeking out about Star Wars, having a good time, trying to pass the time and talking about what we're going to go get and what we're shopping for and what we're looking forward to in the next movie. So that's always one of the really joyous things that I partake of when I go camp out. People always go, "Why are you going to wait in line for 4 hours to go buy toys?" You don't understand.
Yeah, it's just not even a question you bother answering. You get it or you don't, right?
Yeah. You just go away.
Don't worry about it. It's your answer.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like when you're standing out there and some guy drives by and he's like, "What are you guys waiting in line for?" I'm like, "Really? If we have to answer, you don't even need to know about it. Just keep moving.
Just say your
drive
mom.
Your car over there. Yes. Drive your car over there. Hit the tree on the way out." No, it's okay. But anyways, besides that, and besides my blatant dislike of how it was run at a particular store that I decided to camp at too, their name starts with toys and ends with us.
Toys Q us. I go there all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
What could you possibly be talking about?
Man, I gotta tell you, man, they're like on the freaking like list on StarWars.com as one of the places that's doing like a big deal for Force Friday, right?
Right.
And the store was still like in its regular hours when I got in line, like do some recon and go in and see where they're going to set stuff up, And I asked the guy, I said, "So where are they putting everything?" He goes, "Well, anywhere that you see empty spaces on the shelf where there's tags, it's where they're going to put stuff." And I'm like, "So where is that? Because I don't really see anything, man." And he's like, "Oh, well, they're going to put some there. And there's like, maybe like a few like empty pegs there." And he's like, "And they're probably going to put some stuff in the middle." I'm thinking, great. So they're not getting anything. Lucky for me, I'm like number 4 in line. So I'm like, all right, I should still be okay. You know what I mean?
So they didn't have like a set aside section for everybody?
No. Unlike Target, who had like 3 rows of like seasonal that was all Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which I should have just gone to in the first place.
Target knows what's up with Star Wars.
Yeah, Target killed it, man. But anyways, that being said, I did get my one uber hot list item, which
I saw that. I almost bought it. That's so great.
Yeah, the Poe Dameron Black Series helmet, man. I love this thing. I love the details, the aesthetic, the look of it. I mean,
it looks pretty heavy duty.
Looks like something. Yeah, it looks like something I would have paid like $200-300 for on a prop site and spent like 8 weeks building myself.
Yeah.
I did all that without the glued fingers or the burns from the soldering iron, which is great. But one of the really extra cool features about this thing is it has what they are calling on the box a surround sound feature. And if you're watching, you can see there's a speaker on the back of the helmet on the inside, and then there's one on each ear, and they have some small ones on top. And what that does is when you turn this thing on, it plays like you're in an X-Wing cockpit sound. So it's got like the flyby whooshes. And
I was prepared to not be impressed, but then
man,
that's amazing.
And here's the cool thing: when the ship is like doing the idle sound, if you talk, it'll trigger another sound, like either BB-8 talking to you, or you hear like a TIE fighter going by, and you hear like laser cannon sounds. So that was like really like impressed me. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was just going to be some random like push a button sound, but the thing will play for a good amount of time, and you can talk to it. It does all this extra cool stuff.
So it goes from looking good to being cool as well.
Yes, the visor actually flips down. You got this cool visor. I love it.
Here, I just thought of a flaw though. I have a huge head. Am I out of luck?
Yeah, thank you. That was my problem.
What size baseball cap do you wear? Do you know?
Nope. I know it's 58 centimeters around. Does that help you?
Okay. I have a big noggin. I wear like a 7.5 on the fitted baseball cap, and it fits me.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little snug, and the padding on the inside, which is like the first of any of the like Black Series, even the Marvel Legends, like this quality type of helmet that they put out, that actually has like soft cloth padding, and you can actually remove it.
Okay.
So if that was too small with the padding, you could pull that out.
Yeah.
See, I just have nightmares of pulling them on and break in the store and breaking. Dang it! Dang it! It's like the whole aisle just littered with broken Poe Dameron.
Yes. You know what was the other really cool thing about Target, guys? And I'm gonna plug the hell of it right now because we have nothing to do with Target, so we can't be accused of selling out. Okay, but Target, I took half of my stuff back to Toys R Us and rebought it at Target because Target was doing, if you spend $50, you could get a coupon code from Text for like $10 gift card, and if you spend $100, you get 5 back. So I got like $35 of my stuff free from buying it at Target.
Wow.
So I'm like,
that's awesome.
Sounds like somebody's taking care of the fans a little bit better. That's all I'm saying. All I'm gonna say. And they're like,
Toys Q us is slacking.
It's like plastered over every like aisle. Like, oh, text this number, you'll get a code for a free gift card. Like, all right, doing it. Thanks, Target. Yeah. So, all in all, it was a good time. I did end up finding most of the Black Series figures that I was looking for. So that was the other score, and luckily I didn't. I actually sold some stuff on eBay to pay for the new toy. So
awesome.
Break the bank, which was nice. I was like, I don't need this anymore.
That's a pro move.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I was like, I don't need this anymore. Cool. Now the wife can't get mad for me spending $250.
There you go.
So it's all said and done there. But yeah, that's about it, guys, for me for my Week in Geek, and it's a good spot to wrap it up this evening. Mr. Benjamin Sawyer, on behalf of you and Mr. It's Ousley, right? Is that the way you pronounce it?
Yep, you got it.
Ousley. Mr. Jim Ousley, thank you for coming on. Once again, please drop the info to our listeners about the Dead Palace.
All right. We got a horror anthology. About a third of it's already done. We just need to create 2/3 of new fresh new content for you. Some existential, some psychological, some blood and gore across all different time periods and eras. On Kickstarter now, we're up to 34% now. So in just a few short days, we'll have everybody's book published, and we'll just start right into production.
Beautiful, man. Thank you. I'm so excited. I can't wait to read the rest, man.
Man, I can't wait to make it.
It's beautiful, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't say it enough. I love it. But
awesome. Thank you.
My
pleasure.
Luck with the campaign and the rest of the book. And hey, man, I better see some pictures of that Viking costume for Halloween.
Okay. If you follow me on Instagram, you won't be able to avoid it. Trust me.
Awesome, man. Cool. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Deron, what do you have, my friend, for your final arguments for the evening?
Well, since they finally closed the door on the Secret Empire in Marvel,
Yes.
there's kind of a hole there until the next till Secret Empire Omega, where I see the I guess the fallout. So what I've done is I've gone back to the part of Marvel Comics that I've really enjoyed, which is the Star Wars comics.
Yes.
So I am currently reading Captain Phasma, #1.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of the road to the Last Jedi, like what happened to Phasma after Force Awakens. So
yes,
and it's a really good story. Like right after that, I'm gonna pivot into the new issue of Darth Vader, and just kind of immerse myself back into Star Wars before I see the fallout from Secret Empire.
Yeah, awesome, man. We're definitely in that. We're getting to that like uber peak of the Star Wars madness as the movie vastly approaches. Which real quick, I'm surprised being this close and we're at Force Friday already that we haven't gotten a full trailer yet.
No new trailer. I was shocked at that. I was surprised at no new trailer, but I'm thinking it'll probably that if it's not Force Friday, it'll be some other event. But I can't think of anything else that's coming other than the new season, new fall shows.
It's kind of. I was gonna say
it would just feel weak.
If they play it with Thor Ragnarok, that's too late, man. It's already November.
Either that, and it would be weird if it was just like, stay tuned for the premiere of Modern Family to see the new Star Wars trailer
on ABC.
Yeah, but it might be that hold off to try and get people who didn't go see Inhumans in IMAX to see that first episode. So
yes, you know what it's going to be, Deron. When does football officially open?
I don't even know.
They did that last year. Remember, they had it like during football or something.
They did.
They're trying to get geeks like me who don't watch sports to watch sports, and they're like, "We're going to show you the new trailer during halftime."
Exactly.
I got to see this now.
They've yet to discover DVR.
Exactly. All right, buddy. Tell our friends where they should check out all your cool interviews that you did at Dragon Con this weekend.
Well, the Sean Gunn interview I'm editing right now. It's going to be up on Geeks Worldwide YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. Should be there either tomorrow or Friday. My Michael Dorn interview, because it's audio, is going to be part of my my Star Trek episode of my podcast, Superpowered Fancast, and that should be available on Monday.
Excellent, man. I look forward to checking those out, man. I've told you, I don't know if you remember, but my first ever convention, even though I'm not a huge Trek guy, was actually Star Trek convention.
Yeah.
So there's definitely always a little tiny special place for the TNGs. All right, you'll be happy to know that. So just don't tell my fellow 501st members about that, okay?
You walk around and like cover the ears of all of your Star Wars action figures.
Yes. Yes. Well, buddy, it's good talking to you, man. As always, listeners, friends, fans, and followers, please keep checking us out at thegww.com for all the latest news that we get from awesome conventions like Dragon Con, all our latest and greatest from the world of movies, comics, TV, tech, and so much more going up on the site every single week. A little bit of something for everybody to fancy. As always, you can find us on Twitter at _geek side pod, and you can find me personally on Twitter at Darth Sparrow, where I'm constantly throwing up my uneducated and sometimes inebriated opinions about all kinds of things. So but please keep checking us out. We appreciate your love and support. We'll catch you back next week at the same time for episode 5 of the Geek Side Podcast. Up until then, my friends, have a great weekend. Hopefully you go check out a cool movie like It and get your Halloween horror movie season started right, because I'm going to be doing the same thing, and it sounds like most of the cast this evening is going to be doing the same as well. So, as always, guys, like my friends always say, be excellent to each other, and we'll catch you